In Bishop Will Willimon's book, Fear of the Other, No Fear in Love, he opens with 1 John 4:18 through 21. Listen to these words from the Message translation. God is love. When we take up permanent residence in a life of love, we live in God and God lives in us. This way, love has the run of the house, becomes at home and mature in us so that we're free of worry on Judgment Day and our standing in the world is identical with Christ. There is no room in love for fear. Well-formed love banishes fear, and since fear is crippling, a fearful life is not one yet fully formed in love. Though, we're going to love. We're going to love and be loved. First, we're loved, and now we love because God loved us first. He says, if anyone boasts, I love God, and goes right on hating their brother or sister, thinking nothing of it, they're a liar. If they won't love the person they can see, how can we love the God who we cannot see? So the command that we have from Christ is blunt. Loving God includes loving people. You've got to do both. And Bishop Willimon contends that the love we're called to live into, it's not of ourselves, but it's a miraculous love that dwells in us and flows out of us. And this is the kind of love that it takes to be in against racism. It's a God kind of love. It's a committed love. It's a love that cares about the lived experiences, the suffering, the spirituality, the soul, and the success of the other. It's a love that refuses to hate or be indifferent towards another individual who's also created in the image of God. And so today, I invite every person under the sound of my voice to make a commitment to be in against racism, to embody that same prophetic witness of John Wesley, who began his Christian journey heavily influenced by the culture around him, but then repented, grew, and became anti-racist and an advocate for biblical justice. What is she talking about? I'm so glad you asked. In 1757, John Wesley published The Doctrine of Original Sin, a pamphlet. This doctrine contends that black people are cursed. And in this first publication, Wesley made disparaging comments about Africans. But because of sanctifying grace, Wesley grew and had a change of heart. So in 1774, John Wesley published Thoughts Upon Slavery, where he wrote from a place of love after being in relationship with and proximity to Africans. He refuted slavery and he became an ally. And this is why we do IDI work, the intercultural development work that we keep talking about, so that we can identify and acknowledge how our culture impacts the way we embrace, respond, and react to those who have cultural differences than us, and that we can then make a commitment to grow. Wesley grew. He published anti-slavery tracts. He preached sermons condemning the slave trade, and he publicly debated others on the issue. Wesley also publicly opposed one of Methodism's most successful preachers, George Whitefield, who died owning 75 slaves. Wesley also publicly opposed one of Methodism's biggest financial supporters, Lady Selena Huntington. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, be like Wesley. Wesley loved out loud. This work is hard, but it is holy work, and I encourage you to get involved in the work of being in against racism. If your church has never had a conversation about racism or done a book study, I invite you to apply for an Isaiah 117 micro grant. In Isaiah 117, the prophet demanded that God's people embrace God's standard of justice. He told them, learn to do good, seek justice, and resist oppression. These micro grants help with the learning portion. They are from $250 to $400 to help cover materials for you all to engage in a conversation, to read a book together. So come by the In Against Racism table or visit our website to learn more about the grant and to also get help to find the book that's the right fit for your church. I also invite you to sign the In Against Racism covenant. Come by our table, scan the QR code, sign the covenant, and when you do, you'll get one of these beautiful signs to put in front of your church that shows that you have made a commitment to be in against racism, and you'll receive a monthly email with information to help you engaged in this journey. The Indiana Conference is blessed to have Reverend Dr. Giovanni Arroyo with us as the keynote speaker for the In Against Racism dinner and our ethnic clergy luncheon. Dr. Arroyo is the General Secretary for the General Commission on Race and Religion. He is the first Hispanic to serve in this role. I'm going to show a short video so that we can learn more about how G-Corps can support your church in your In Against Racism journey.
How can I make my church a place where all people belong and feel welcomed?
How should I approach difficult conversations about racism and bias within my congregation?
What is our responsibility as Christians to undo racism in ourselves and our communities?
How can we prepare our children to grow into adults who love and celebrate the true diversity of God's creation?
As we watch our world continue to grow more connected in some ways and more divided in others, many Christians are asking themselves these questions. Since 1968, the United Methodist Church has looked to the General Commission on Religion and Race, G-Corps, to lead and guide us in finding the answers. G-Corps was created to hold the United Methodist Church accountable to its commitment to reject the sin of racism in every aspect of church life. For decades, G-Corps has supported this work with clergy, laity, and congregations through education and consultation, while also responding to calls for help from across the denomination. As we came into the 21st century, our mission and ministry grew to respond to our changing world. While we continue to challenge and support the United Methodist Church in its work to dismantle racial discrimination and institutional racism among leaders, congregations, and church ministries, this commission has been called to do more. In solidarity with global movements for liberation and justice, we now seek to make our tools and resources available as broadly as possible. The way we achieve our mission has also evolved to meet the needs and opportunities of this time we're living in. In 2019, we launched R Square, a website entirely dedicated to practical and easy to access resources to help you and your faith community through the critical work of creating a just and equitable kingdom of God. Whether you attend a G-Corps event, subscribe to our social media channels, or take advantage of resources for R Square, the General Commission on Religion and Race has something for everyone committed to anti-racism and becoming a more interculturally competent Christian. God is calling us to be the global human family we are created to be, a family in which every person can live, love, and express themselves fully in freedom and in peace. Let's become that family together.